On the Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, when tempers flare in the French Riviera. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. Sharon was swimming when Adam made a brief appearance at the Dumas estate. Nick brings her up to date on what he knows about Cain and his worries about Cain's plans. Nick is concerned about Phyllis. He tells Sharon that he thinks Phyllis is in over her head trusting Cain and wants Sharon's help to convince Phyllis to not only stop trying to work with Cain, but to help his family against him instead. Cain and Phyllis's conversation about his takeover plans for Genoa City had been interrupted when he spotted Lily with Damien. He told Phyllis they would continue their conversation at the cocktail party, but Cain only does what he wants, and Phyllis tends to press hard. Sharon tries to convince Phyllis to watch her back with Cain. As Nick listens in the background, will Sharon have much success? Or is Phyllis astounded that after all the snobby ways Victor and Nikki have been talking to her and telling her she's not good enough to be in the same room with them, that they would need her to take their side? Sally has been all lovey-dovey with Billy since he put it in writing that he'd give her control of Abbott Communications if he gets back Chancellor with Cain. Jack isn't as happy with Billy as Sally is, though. In fact, Jack gives Billy an ultimatum. Jack invested in Abbott Communications because he believed in Billy and that he was focused on moving forward, succeeding, and not continuing a war with Victor. Phyllis's tone seems to have shifted with Cain. Is she still on board to be at his side as he takes over Genoa City, or has he been playing her? Maybe it's Phyllis that needs the guarantee from Cain, and not the other way around. Cain seems happy even if everyone else is miserable. Was Lily right that he has kept them trapped there to turn on one another? Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Here are the Young and the Restless spoilers for next week. When Cain can't unsee Lily's choice, Tessa and Mariah are on the brink of a divorce, and Danny wants to get married. Here's a look ahead at the episodes we'll see from Monday, June 30th to Friday, July 4th, 2025. Next week on The Young and the Restless, two guests who don't know there is a way out of the Dumas estate in France are Kyle and Audra. In Audra's train car, they talk, but it looks like they may still be in their pajamas. Surely they didn't spend the night together, but this is getting closer to being inappropriate. While sitting on her bed, Audra happily suggests that she and Kyle talk about their plans for their marketing feud, but Kyle thinks it would be better for them to talk over breakfast, with others around, and while they're dressed. Audra cheekily tells Kyle there is no reason for him to leave while she changes clothes and drops her silk robe. With her back to Kyle, she smirks, knowing he is looking at her in her lingerie. Will she be able to tempt him further? At Society, Daniel meets with his father, Danny. Danny shares with his son that he is planning a surprise for Christine, and when Daniel asks about it, Danny is happy to reveal what it's all about. "Tonight's the night I'm going to ask her to marry me," Danny smiles. Later, Christine and Danny are at Society, drinking a special red drink with matching flowers in the background. "To our connection, our past, and our future," Danny says in a toast as they clink glasses. Meanwhile, Tessa and Mariah meet at the park. "I know you're angry. I deserve it," Mariah starts. Tessa is furious. She blasts Mariah for allowing her to feel upset, and notes that Mariah is well aware of how Tessa is feeling, but won't let her wife in on what she is going through. The conversation doesn't go well, and it seems the stonewalling is going to continue. Fed up, Tessa suggests to Mariah that they make the separation more permanent. Is that what Tessa really wants? Or was she just warning her wife that if things don't change, she would be pushing Tessa's patience too far? Damien knows that Cain wants Lily back, and can't blame him. He knows what it's like to want to be with her too. Lily, however, has made her own choices and tells Damien she's ready to move forward with something, and someone, new in her life. As the couple starts to kiss, Cain comes around the corner and stops in his tracks. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles could get caught on camera. Will Damien Cain score cheating evidence for Nate Hastings? Although Damien hasn't known Nate very long, he's managed to bond with his half-brother in a short amount of time. Damien really appreciates all the help Nate gave Amy Lewis to extend her life, so they've formed a nice connection. As a result, Damien has become protective of Nate and has good reasons to be concerned about his relationship with Audra. It makes sense for Damien to be on high alert since Audra isn't being very subtle about throwing herself at Kyle. Although Audra tried to act like she was loyal to Nate, Damien isn't so sure about that. Damien vowed to keep an eye on Audra, so it seems like Y&R is going somewhere with his protective nature and the fact that he's watching her closely. Since Audra and Kyle may be on the verge of surrendering to temptation, Damien just might catch them kissing. Damien could witness Kyle and Audra looking ready to tear each other's clothes off as they stumble into a private train car together. Perhaps Damien will spot a makeout session that's about to cross the line into even more passionate territory. If that's the case, it'd be easy for Damien to whip out his phone and film proof of Audra's betrayal. Damien could snap some pics or even get a video to prove to Nate that Audra cheated on him. Since Audra's own relationship with Nate will be at stake, she may change her mind about destroying Kyle and Claire Newman's romance. This could turn into a situation where Kyle and Audra make a pact to bury what's happened between them. Of course, Damien could throw a wrench in that plan if he sends Nate the potential cheating video or pics once they finally have cell service again. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease Sharon Newman is in for one heck of a shocker when she learns Cain Ashby could be after her company. Sharon knows about Cain's plan to acquire Chancellor Industries, Jabot, and Newman Enterprises. However, she never imagined the con man would be interested in her company. Nick Newman informs Sharon that Cain could be looking at Cassidy first. He shares that Cain has acquired the athletic club and was looking to purchase Society. He also disclosed he has purchased buildings and land near Chancellor Industries, Jobot, and Newman Enterprises. Needless to say, this news stuns Sharon, as she begs Nick to help her protect her company. The Young and the Restless spoilers say that Sharon felt safe knowing Cain wasn't after her company. She thought he was focused on Jabot, Chancellor Industries, and Newman Enterprises. However, Nick drops the bombshell that he could be looking at Cassidy first, urging her to safeguard her interest. Without her company, she doesn't know what she will do. She begs Nick to help keep Cassidy first safe from Cain's grasp. It's likely Sharon will march up to Cain and demand to know if he is after her company. Cain doesn't like confrontation, being more comfortable with operating in the shadows. Cain will probably promise Sharon he has no interest in her company. He has bigger fish to fry. He will want Sharon to trust him, so delivering a fake promise could relieve some of her anxiety. We know that Cain has several target lists. He gave Holden Novak a list of people get to know: Mariah Copeland, Adam Newman, Claire Newman, and Chelsea Lawson. The Young and the Restless spoilers say that Cain's business target lists include Jabot, Chancellor Industries, and Newman Enterprises. He will likely attack the smaller divisions first, then going in for the kill on the main companies. Cain could want Cassidy first. However, he hasn't named that business as one of his interests yet. Cain could go after Cassidy first as a way to get under Nick's skin. He knows that Nick would unravel, working as hard as he could to protect Sharon's company. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Mariah Copeland may get arrested after her fatal secret is exposed. Will Mariah face prison time once the truth comes out? When a flashback showed Mariah crying while clutching a pillow, many Y&R fans started to suspect she smothered the stranger she met on her business trip. The July 8th episode confirmed that Mariah indeed suffocated that man, so she's apparently been covering up a murder all this time. Mariah's been dealing with some horrible memories of holding that pillow over his face and snuffing the life out of him. Of course, Mariah wouldn't kill a guy without a good reason. It seems like Mariah snapped over all her Ian Ward issues, perhaps after an Ian hallucination or a moment where this stranger said something to trigger her. Mariah was also drunk, so that no doubt contributed to her confusion and gave her some liquid courage to do what she did. This was an awful mistake that Mariah deeply regrets, but she can't undo the horror of it all now. Mariah has managed to keep the secret buried so far, but what happens once it inevitably comes to light? It seems likely Mariah will eventually be arrested and thrown in a jail cell for what she did. Since Mariah's dealing with so much guilt and regret, maybe she could even call the cops on herself and make a full confession. In the end, Mariah might view it as the only way to move forward. Whatever the case, Mariah could be looking at serious prison time if she goes down for murder. You can bet Tessa Porter is going to freak out if her wife and Aria Porter Copeland's other mom winds up facing years behind bars. That could bring yet another reason for Tessa to lean on Daniel Romalotti Jr. for support. Sharon Newman will reel once she gets updates on Mariah's grim secret as well. But she may not give up on getting her daughter out of trouble. Even if Mariah wants to plead guilty, Sharon may work to change her mind. Perhaps Michael Baldwin could work his magic and get Mariah off the hook with a temporary insanity defense or some other legal strategy. In the latest twist shaking up the young and the restless, long-standing rivals Jack Abbott and Victor Newman may be forced to put their feud aside for the greater good. With the cunning Cain Ashby launching a bold power grab in Genoa City, fans are left wondering, will these two titans of industry unite to protect their family legacies, or let pride tear everything down? The brewing crisis in Genoa City. Cain Ashby has returned with a plan more ambitious and dangerous than anyone anticipated. After discarding his disguise, Cain set his sights on acquiring control of every major company in Genoa City, including Newman Enterprises, Jabot, Chancellor Winters, and even divisions formerly run by his ex-wife, Lily Winters, and her brother, Devon Hamilton. With the help of Holden Novak, Cain is stealthily purchasing properties and former Chancellor assets, building an empire right under everyone's noses. His strategy? Consolidate all Genoa City's corporate power under the Chancellor umbrella, while the city's power players are conveniently stranded in France with no access to communication. Victor and Jack. A fractured front. Phyllis Summers was quick to uncover Cain's motives, but getting the right people to listen is another story. Despite warnings from his own son Adam and concerns from Nikki and Nick, Victor Newman remains focused on his old vendetta against Jack Abbott. He's even used Audra Charles to manipulate Jack's son Kyle, continuing to stir conflict rather than address the real threat. Meanwhile, Jack appears more willing to cooperate for the sake of protecting their companies and families. But Victor, ever stubborn and driven by ego, still resents Jack for stepping in to help Nikki during her relapse. Despite the rest of the family seeing Jack's actions as heroic, Cain's silent takeover, as Cain and his co-conspirators Amanda Sinclair and Phyllis tighten their grip on Genoa City, their opponents remain divided. Cain has been methodically orchestrating his takeover, hoping that by isolating key players abroad, he can make his move unchallenged. Even when Cain offered to buy out Chancellor with assets worth 3 times its value, Victor refused. But the offer was likely a mere distraction. Cain's plans had already been set in motion, with or without a deal. The call for unity, Phyllis herself cautioned Cain, what if Jack, Victor, Lily, and Devon unite? Given the Winters family's rocky history with Victor, especially how Lily was treated during the Chancellor shakeup, it won't be easy. But with their companies under siege, unity may be the only path forward. Ironically, it's Victor's fixation on old rivalries that poses the biggest obstacle. While nearly everyone else, from Diane to Nikki to the rest of the Newmans, has moved on, Victor keeps the feud alive. His latest interference in Kyle and Claire's relationship only fuels more resentment. A turning point for Victor Newman? Victor's actions have begun to alienate those closest to him. Nikki, Victoria, Nick, and Claire are all growing tired of the endless conflict and may soon pressure Victor to strike a truce with Jack. And with Abby temporarily out of the picture, the majority may finally push for change. Yet even if Jack and Victor choose to join forces, a public alliance could ruin the element of surprise. Their best hope? Keep up the illusion of hatred while secretly plotting together to dismantle Cain's empire from within. Conclusion. As Cain's plan to dominate Genoa City gains momentum, the fate of Newman Enterprises, Jabot, and Chancellor Winters hangs in the balance. Will Victor let go of his pride in time to stop the takeover? Or will his refusal to work with Jack cost them everything? Fans are holding their breath to see whether this decades-long rivalry can finally give way to an unexpected alliance. If nothing else, Cain's return might just force the biggest ego in Genoa City to confront reality, and that could change everything. Genoa City's corporate landscape was rocked to its core this week by an act of violence that has everyone asking the same question: why? For years, Carter was the epitome of loyalty in Genoa City's cutthroat business world. As the ever-present right hand to the formidable Cain Ashby, he was a man who handled everything from high-stakes negotiations to cleaning up the messes left in the wake of his boss's ambition. To the outside world, their partnership was built on trust and ruthless efficiency. But beneath the surface, a storm of betrayal and buried secrets was about to burst forth. In a shocking turn of events, the unthinkable happened. Carter, in a moment of cold calculation, turned on the very man he had sworn to protect. The weapon was a knife. The attack was sudden, brutal, and aimed to kill. News of the assault on Cain Ashby spread like wildfire, with headlines screaming the impossible. Carter, the loyal aide, was arrested for attempted murder, while his mentor and employer fought for his life. As Genoa City reels, the real story is just beginning to unfold, revealing a saga not just of violence, but of a deeply rooted vendetta, a crumbling empire, and a love that refuses to die amidst the chaos. Whispers suggest Carter's loyalty was a mask for years of resentment, fueled by Cain's empty promises and lack of respect. But could professional grievance ever justify such a bloody act? Adding another layer of intrigue is Lily Winter's unwavering vigil at Cain's bedside. Once lovers, then enemies, and finally co-parents. Their relationship has always been fraught with complication. Yet, the sight of the composed Lily, weeping and fiercely protective, has sent shockwaves through their circle. Her devotion seems less like simple grief and more like a desperate, almost possessive act. Is it love reignited by trauma, or is she protecting a secret of her own, a truth connected to the attack itself? Now, a new player is entering the arena. Cain and Lily's son, no longer a boy but a man, has been called home. His arrival is a ticking clock for his parents. For Cain, lying in his hospital bed, the physical pain is eclipsed by a terrifying self-awareness. He is haunted not just by the blade, but by Carter's final words. Words that spoke a bitter truth about years of manipulation and disrespect. Cain fears his son's scrutiny, knowing he will see the monster behind the mogul. The stage is set for a confrontation that could shatter what's left of the Ashby Winters legacy. As their son returns to a world of scandal and secrets, he may be the one to finally unearth the truths his parents have spent a lifetime burying. The question is no longer just why Carter snapped, but what will happen when a family built on a foundation of lies is forced to face its final reckoning, young and the restless. 2-week spoilers for July 7th to the 18th, 2025. See Cain Ashby is furious, and Daniel Romalotti steps up. Starting on Monday, July 7th, Cain is lurking and spying and sees Lily Winters holding Damian Cain's hand. She's being very sweet and says she likes how much he cares about his mom, Amy Lewis. We've got Lily ready to jump in with Damian, and seeing Cain again makes it clear to her who she can trust and who she cannot trust, and Cain is very angry at seeing them together, looking so cozy. Now that Adam Newman told the family all the sketchy things Cain's got going back in Genoa City, Nikki Newman is insistent that she needs to get out, get down that mountain, get back home to Victoria Newman and Claire Grace Newman, and check on the business. Nikki wants to hike down the mountain with Adam, but he and Nick Newman and Victor Newman agree it's just too much for her. Plus, Victor wants to stay and fight. He wants to beat Cain on his home turf. Victor sends Adam back home to Genoa City, and he tells Adam, haul down the fort. Victor orders him to protect the family businesses till they're back. And the Newmans actually all show their gratitude towards Adam. Meanwhile, Nick tells the Newmans that Cain brought Chance Chancellor to France for protection, because he thinks someone's trying to kill him. And Phyllis Summers spots Adam with the family and starts grilling Nick about why he's there. And guess what? Adam's big brother Nick is not the brightest bulb in the shed because of what he does after that. So Phyllis really wants to help Cain take over all the companies in Genoa City. He's looking at Chancellor, he's looking at Newman Industries, he's looking at Jabot. He is being greedy and grabby. And Amanda Sinclair warns there's a lot to this. Phyllis is wondering if the families might unite to fight against him. Cain demands that Phyllis prove that she's loyal if she wants this by betraying somebody close to her, and specifically mentions Nick. So when Phyllis grills Nick about Adam, guess what? Nick spills all the beans, tells her what Adam found out about Cain's activities back in GC. Nick also tells Phyllis do not trust Cain and tells her choose the right side, which is everybody else. Phyllis wants to know why Nick even cares, and Phyllis is adamant that she knows what she's doing. She does not want Nick's help. She does not need Nick's help. Later, she's arguing with Lily. Phyllis is blasting Lily, accusing her of using Damien to hurt Cain. Lily calls Phyllis a bully and says she abandoned her son Daniel Romalotti to come party. Damien and Amanda break up the bickering. And then Lily and Damien notice that Audra Charles is getting way too close to Kyle Abbott. They try to tell Lily it's just for work, but they don't even work together. And Lily and Damien doubt that it's innocent. They are going to be watching very closely. So Kyle and Audra get super flirty and thinks she's got him where she wants him because on Monday, Audra gets Kyle to talk business with her while she's half naked in sexy lingerie. She even drops her robe to where she's only in her undies and changes clothes in front of him. So clearly Audra is getting to Kyle, and he should know better than to be alone with her when she's scantily clad. Claire wouldn't like it, and it's just not the right thing to do. Tuesday, July 8th, we've got Danny Romalotti ready to make a big move. He tells Daniel about his romantic plan to propose to Christine Williams. Tessa Porter and Mariah Copeland talk about their future. She still won't tell Tessa what's going on, what she did, and Tessa snaps and tells Mariah, "You know what? This separation maybe should just be permanent." Victoria gets comfort and consolation by someone from her past, which is an interesting spoiler. J. Eddie Peck is officially out since Cole Howard died. Maybe they're going to bring back somebody like J.T. Hellstrom for a couple of episodes. I just saw Tad Luckenbill on a really good series called Lioness. It's on Paramount Plus. And since Amelia and Tad rekindled their real-life romance after splitting and are married, I bet he would do a cameo on Y&R. So, I'm very interested to see who the person from her past is. Wednesday, July 9th, Sharon Newman and Nick work together. They're going to try and help Phyllis. And of course, Sharon and Nick think they know what's best. And they know it's not Cain, but Phyllis isn't going to listen to them. And I don't think she wants their help, unless somehow she is tricking them, to prove more loyalty to Cain and try to pump them for more info. Jack Abbott hits Billy Abbott with an ultimatum. And I think Jack is probably going to tell him, "Stop trying to get Chancellor. Get off this Victor's revenge kick. Please focus on AbbottCom, the money that I gave you gazillions of dollars to start up. Sally Spectra has been begging him to go, and let's just do the startup." Billy's being very stubborn. Thursday, July 10th, Victoria has to make a really tough and awful decision. Maybe it's about Cole's funeral arrangements, of course, while she's got no family support except for Claire. Lily makes a courageous move. She's going to tell Damien she's ready for something new and gives him a very passionate kiss. He's all in with Lily, and of course, Cain is going to be very angry and is going to target Damien, maybe Lily too, depending on how angry he is. Danny Romalotti does the big proposal to Christine. Looks like he rented out society for their big night. On Friday, July 11th, we have got Chelsea Lawson Newman and Adam scheming back in Genoa City. Obviously, it's about Cain and Holden Novak and their plans. Also, this week, Cain ends up in Lily's bedroom on the rail car, and she is quite upset. Maybe because he's accosting her in private. Let's be real. Cain does not stand a chance with Lily, that's clear. It's very weird because I actually liked Cain, and I liked Daniel Goddard, and I really do like Billy Flynn. And of course, they're doing a retcon and rewriting history, talking about how they were both young when they fell in love when he was in his, 30s, and she was 18 when they got involved. So I'm taking it one day at a time. I do like the actor. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what they're doing with the historical rewrite. Kyle and Audra face more temptation over in France, and the question is, will they resist? Clearly, this is headed to territory that could destroy both their relationships. And Holden is there for Claire on Friday. She's mourning her dad, Cole. And of course, Kyle is not there for her. This may be a turning point. July 14th through the 18th, Claire and Holden get closer. With Kyle gone and Cain ordering Holden to get closer to Claire, it's the perfect chance for him to please his boss, Cain. But also, Holden does seem to care about her, and she is grieving, so this is a big shift. Kyle and Audra are pushing boundaries, but there's lots of eyes on them, and they're both playing a very dangerous game on Young and the Restless. Adam and Chelsea step up for the family. They're working to ferret out exactly what Cain has Holden doing, and Chelsea being on Holden's target list may be a big help. I think that Holden completely underestimates Chelsea because he has no idea about her past. Cain does, but he didn't really give Holden any kind of warning about her conwoman past and how clever she is. Victoria struggles in the aftermath of Cole's death. Her mom and dad are not there for her. It's a terrible time for Victor and Nikki to be gone. Rough for Victoria, also for Claire. Lily moves forward with Damien and is sure to rub it in Cain's face. And Phyllis and Amanda and Cain get busy scheming against everybody. And Mariah's spiral deepens. And Daniel and Tessa get closer as he steps up for her and comforts her. The young and the restless Cain thought that he had the upper hand. But his advantage has been utterly obliterated by Adam, who flew to France and then hiked his way up to the train to reveal to Victor that the erstwhile Aristotle Dumas has been buying up real estate in Genoa City for years. His plan? To own the whole dang town. As he confided in Phyllis. But one thing could throw Cain's game off track, as hinted in this week's Young and Restless preview. Meanwhile, back in Genoa City, one couple has a reason to celebrate as another continues to fall apart. While Claire is at home mourning the loss of her father, Kyle, clueless as to her loss, is stuck in France playing house in a sleeper car with Audra. But how long before the schemers cross a line? In Genoa City, it's taken them years. Decades to reunite, and now Danny wants to make it official with Christine, and while they celebrate, it may be over for Mariah and Tessa for good. Fed up with her wife's secret, Tessa suggests they call it quits. And back in France, in a case of, "We think the lady doth protest too much," Lily throws herself at Damien, assuring him that she doesn't want Cain, she wants something new. That's when Cain gets an eyeful. Oh, and there is still that pesky matter of Cain believing someone is going to try and kill him. But who? And when will they strike? Y&R spoiler alert. Here are your teasers for The Young and the Restless for the week of Monday, July 7th to Friday, July 11th, 2025. Be sure to tune in to CBS every weekday to see how everything plays out in Genoa City. Victor seizes an opportunity to strike back. Phyllis pursues Cain. Audra receives mixed signals from Kyle. Victoria is comforted by someone from her past. Mariah and Tessa ponder their future. Danny preps to make a big decision. Jack gives Billy an ultimatum. Nick and Sharon team up to help Phyllis. Danny pops the question to Christine. Lily makes a bold move. Victoria makes a painful decision. Claire leans on Holden. Kyle&Audra fight temptation. Adam schemes with Chelsea. On The Young and the Restless, Victoria and Claire were heartbroken when Cole Howard succumbed to his illness in the hospital. After months of speculation by fans, actor J. Eddie Peck has broken his silence on his departure from his long-term role on the show and has a message for his fans. On The Young and the Restless, Cole Howard returned from a business trip with a horrible cough and fever. Although Victoria had asked him to move into the tack house with her, Claire, Johnny, and Katie, Cole still had his room at the Genoa City Athletic Club. Because Cole was so sick, he insisted on returning to his hotel room as he didn't want to infect anyone. However, Victoria and Claire insisted on caring for him, and neither contracted what he had. At first, Cole thought he had a bad cold or some sort of virus that he picked up while traveling. Once he got so sick that he had to be hospitalized, doctors thought he might have pneumonia. Shortly thereafter, Cole was transferred to a hospital in Chicago and was diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease. The doctors tried various combinations of antibiotics in hopes that one would work, but his body didn't react to any of them. Unfortunately, Cole was transferred back to Genoa City, where he held on long enough to tell his daughter and the love of his life a very sad goodbye. Claire couldn't take the news and ran out of the room, refusing to believe that it was their final moments. Victoria, however, could see that Cole had accepted his fate and chose to spend his last moments in love. She was kissing him as he was taking his last breaths. On Instagram, actor J. Eddie Peck addressed his fans today. Just a quick shout-out as Cole takes his last breath on the show today, and with that, this chapter of my journey on The Young and the Restless comes to a close. Peck continued, "I want to thank all of you, my fans, friends, and Y&R family, for welcoming me back with such incredible warmth and support. Your messages, posts, and enthusiasm made this return deeply meaningful for me. I'll do a little follow-up with a video later today, or this eve. Much love, J. Eddie." Spoilers for the upcoming week's episodes of The Young and the Restless from July 7th, 2025 to July 11th, 2025 reveal that things will take a dramatic turn for the residents of Genoa City. Spoilers indicate that Victor Newman will have the upper hand on Cain Ashby and team up with Adam Newman, his son, to strategize against him sneakily. Claire Newman will be shown feeling extremely lonely, and Cole Howard will be a goner. In addition to these developments, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will have a conversation with Danny Romalotti and make a decision about asking Christine Blair to marry Danny. In the upcoming week's episodes of The Young and the Restless from July 7th to July 11th, 2025, spoilers reveal that Victor Newman's son, Adam Newman, will travel to Nice, France from Genoa City and meet Victor and the rest of the Newman family members and give them updates. Adam will provide updates on Arabesque's latest purchases and tell them about Chelsea Lawson's meeting with Cain Ashby. Victor will find out that Cain has already ousted himself as Dumas at the party. Spoilers reveal that Victor Newman will have the upper hand over Cain Ashby, even though Cain will be unaware of it. Victor will be shown to have some secret advantages over Cain, and he will team up with his son, Adam, and the two of them will sneakily strategize. Victor will also provide some reassurance to Nikki Newman, his partner, about protecting the Chancellors and their entire family. Spoilers also reveal that once Cain returns to Genoa City, Phyllis Summers will put him through an intense grilling session. Phyllis recently overheard Amanda Sinclair and Carter discussing Cain's brief trip, and will try her best to find out more details in the upcoming episodes. Spoilers for the upcoming episodes of The Young and the Restless suggest that Claire Newman will be shown feeling extremely lonely and lost in France after she realizes that Cole Howard has been missing in action for a while. Claire will also be shown not hearing back from Kyle Abbott and feel worse. Kyle, in reality, will not have cell service, but Claire will assume that he does not want to talk to her. In the upcoming episodes of The Young and the Restless, Daniel Romalotti Jr. will have a conversation with Danny Romalotti about planning a surprise for Christine Blair. Danny will insist that it is the right time for him to ask Christine to marry him. Spoilers reveal that Danny will plan a surprise night for Christine at Society and pop the question. Their chemistry brings fire to the classic seduction plot. Audra has big dreams on The Young and the Restless, but what comes with big dreams is big trouble. Audra is in a committed relationship with Nate, and yet she has to seduce Kyle so she can finally end up with Vibrante. Even though this assignment is immoral at best, a fiery affair is exactly what this show needs as we head into the hot summer months. There's no doubt that Kyle and Audra have chemistry, yet it wasn't enough to keep them together. The corporate wars pried them apart the first time around. Their previous affair ended after Kyle betrayed Audra by getting her fired from Glissade. She still holds that grudge to this day, but there's still a burning passion between them, even if it's mostly hatred. Victor created a plan to break up Kyle and Claire's relationship. He assigned Audra to seduce Kyle. What better time than to do it in the French Riviera? If Audra succeeds, she will end up with Vibrante, the shiny new toy in the beauty world. But she could end up with more than she bargained for. This passionate love affair is exactly what this soap needed. We need a return to love in the afternoon, especially during the hot summer. Kyle and Audra's romp is fun and thrilling, Unlike most of the relationships that have seemed to have slowed down and stalled, these two don't take their affair seriously, and they are both hot and young. Audra and Kyle could finally bring the young and restless back into the show. According to the spoilers, alcohol gets mixed with feelings, and they realize they enjoy being together. Audra might admit her attraction to Kyle. Plus, it will cause drama with their respective partners. What happens in Nice doesn't always stay in Nice. Their affair will likely be heard all the way back in Genoa City. We're interested in seeing how this will affect their relationship with Claire and Nate. It will obviously lead to some awkward moments and tough conversations, and we're interested in seeing what happens next. What are your thoughts on Audra and Kyle's affair? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Will she remain loyal to Cain or Nick? On The Young and the Restless, Phyllis's loyalty is being tested. She must decide whether she wants to be loyal to Cain or to her ex, Nick. Cain wants information on Newman's businesses, which puts Phyllis in a difficult position. Who will she remain loyal to? Fans shared their thoughts on this tricky situation. Phyllis spoke with Cain on the Monday, July 7th episode of Y&R. If she wants success, she will have to do something she's not comfortable doing. Cain asked her to betray Nick. After their conversation, she was confronted by no one but Nick himself. Where will Phyllis's loyalties lie? Will she betray her friends, or will she remain loyal to Cain? Phyllis has been desperate to work with Cain. She wants her hands on his billions. Phyllis will do anything to get success, money, and power. But is it worth it in the end? It's bad enough that Phyllis is already down and out, with no one to look out for her. Fans are intrigued by this plot. On the soap message boards, they're wondering who Phyllis will remain loyal to. The original poster asked, so will she go with Cain and his plans, or honor her loyalty and love to Nick? What say you? This was a difficult question for fans to answer. One fan commented, tough decision for her, but the sooner she realizes she's in the same family status as Adam is with the Newmans, the easier it will be for her to make a choice. Another user noted, things haven't even started to get sticky for Phyllis. She doesn't know anything yet. Just a few ideas, but nothing concrete. Cain certainly wouldn't trust her yet. Phyllis believes that Cain should trust her. In the meantime, she has a big decision to make. It depends on what she's being asked to do and what she's willing to do to betray Nick. This will be an interesting storyline for Phyllis since it will involve grappling with her conscience and heart. One fan declared, "She will betray Nick. Phyllis is all about Phyllis." This is true. Phyllis' loyalties lie with Phyllis at the end of the day. She will remain loyal to the one who has a job for her. She also doesn't owe the Newmans anything. Her loyalties will end up with Cain, who will finance her future endeavors. The upcoming episode of the CBS soap opera The Young and the Restless, airing on July 7th, 2025, teases a dramatic day full of twists and tension. In Genoa City and abroad, romance gets complicated and business rivalries heat up. Viewers can expect surprises, secrets, and some bold moves as the drama continues to build for several fan-favorite characters. The biggest moment of the episode comes when Diane Jenkins Abbott finds out something that could change everything. At the same time, her son Kyle has no idea that Claire Newman is struggling back home. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott begins to worry as a fight for power in the business world gets more serious, with Victor Newman pulling the strings behind the scenes. Kyle Abbott, on The Young and the Restless, has been telling his mom, Diane, that he has everything under control when it comes to Audra Charles. But during the celebration trip to Nice, his actions say otherwise. When Kyle stops by Audra's train car to talk business, she surprises him by showing up in her lingerie, trying to tempt him. Even though Kyle tries to stay focused, the tension between them is hard to ignore. Diane, who's been keeping a close eye on things, might find out about this moment and start to worry that Kyle is making the same mistakes again. While Kyle is caught up in the mix of business and flirting with Audra, he has no idea what's going on back in Genoa City. Claire Newman is heartbroken over the death of Cole Howard and has been trying to contact Kyle to share the sad news, but she hasn't been able to reach him. Claire feels more alone without Kyle's support, and until he gets cell service again, he'll stay unaware of her pain. When he finally finds out, it could lead to a really emotional moment. Jack Abbott, on The Young and the Restless, is starting to realize that things at Jabot may be more serious than he first believed. He's always had trouble with Victor Newman, but now he's beginning to think that Cain Ashby might be an even bigger threat. Victor has been trying to get under Jack's skin by talking about business deals and alliances, but Cain's true goal seems clear as he wants to take over the top companies in Genoa City, and Jabot is one of them. Victor Newman on The Young and the Restless is known for thinking ahead and making smart moves, and if he teams up with Cain, it could cause problems. Jack is already under a lot of stress, and Victor's mind games might make things even worse. It's not clear if Victor truly sees Cain as a real partner or just someone he can use. But one thing is certain: Cain wants more power, and Victor is stirring up trouble, which could lead to major changes for Jack's company. With tension rising and secrets coming out, Monday's episode will be full of drama and emotional moments.